Wow.
Very good.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
what the Osmonds were Mormons, weren't they?
The Osmonds, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Or someone I used to know used to call them morons. Not deliberately, but that's a genuine slip of the tongue each time. Okay, so you were a Mormon.
Yeah.
Um, what about me? Again, like you say, there's probably a lot of things about me that you two don't know. And again, before I sort of try and think of something to say, I guess anyone who spends their life telling others everything about themselves is probably not going to be a very popular person. I think there's something to be said, as we probably all do, for keeping one's own counsel, for not elevating ourselves as if anyone else gives a hoot about what we are, what we do. I mean, it's nice to think friends are interested in us, but I'm not someone who goes around talking much about myself. I suppose something you probably, well, you don't know, you've no reason to know, but as a person, I've never been somebody who's, a regular user of swear words, for example. I mean, we all get a bit annoyed sometimes, and you might use something mild like the bloody driver or something like that. But generally, I suppose I was brought up not to use bad language. And therefore, this almost taps a bit more into, or it did a few years ago, what we say about do other people know us? Another question is, do we really know ourselves? Because it's only when we're in a situation, very often, something might come out about ourselves, how we cope with something that we didn't previously know. Um, and I mean, there's all sorts of things I could say on that, but as we
Exactly.
go, if we push ourselves, I think, as somebody once said, life begins at the end of our comfort zone. You've got to go outside that comfort zone sometimes to really realize what we can do. I'm sure most of us can do a hell of a lot more in resilience and so on than we give ourselves credit for. But anyway, be that as it may. But something I suppose that surprised me a long time ago has to do with my songwriting and recording. And that is, I mean, as anyone who does it, and Emmy will know, when you are doing that, you're very focused. It's a fairly precise science what you're doing. Okay, the technical equipment means if you make a mistake on a particular channel that you're doing a particular instrument, you don't actually have to go through the whole thing again. You can isolate where you've made the mistake. It might be one word or one chord, and you can actually, with your foot pedal, you can put the right chord, the right word in. So it's not that bad. But that said, it's still extremely frustrating when you've been working on a song. Recording one song would often take me, I suppose, anything from a whole half day to like 2 or 3 days, which will probably number 15 or 20 hours to really try and get it right. And what I discovered as time has gone by, because I've been doing this quite a long time, is that I can get to a point where I get an intense anger if I repeat a mistake 2 or 3 times or do the same thing wrong. And it's a good job that no one else at the time, because no one else is allowed in my in my recording studio, or the living room as I call it, um, when I'm recording, for obvious reasons. They can when I'm playing an instrument, but if I'm singing, they can't. But if I get it wrong, I've always been a bit, even now, surprised how blue the air gets. I mean, I didn't realize I knew so many swear words. And I like to think that people can't think of me as someone who loses it with
Yeah.
myself in an anger, and almost it has to resist the idea of the thought of throwing the guitar across the room or whatever. So yeah, I can use bad language, but I would say not really in any other situation. I'm not someone who swears much, but when I'm recording and make ongoing mistakes, I can get so uptight, which of course makes it worse, because then you're not in the right frame of mind to not make that mistake again. Sometimes I find I got to stop, go and make a cup of tea or something, and then come back to it. But I do know my temper comes out and I don't really have a bad temper generally, but it comes out with myself in that situation. So that's ongoing mistakes. I can get so uptight, which of course makes it worse because then you're not in the right frame of mind to not make that mistake again. Sometimes I find I got to stop, go and make a cup of tea or something, and then come back to it. But I do know my temper comes out, and I don't really have a bad temper generally, but it comes out with myself in that situation. So that's something about myself I would think neither of you two would know.
Um,
Okay,
I did.
next one.
I
Go
did
on.
have an idea that you might swear a bit.
I don't know why that is. I did
I
nearly
think, I
swear when I
think,
saw your jacket last week. I okay, so
I think
the next
it's to me,
question.
it's understandably
Yeah,
because if you look at people who do not naturally get angry
yeah,
when they've had a drink, you see a different person.
that's
So
very true.
when you've got passion for something and that something is not really going well,
Yeah,
it
it
makes you mad.
happens.
And,
Yeah,
Yeah,
once you're mad, you're prone to saying some things that you shouldn't
yeah,
have said, that you
very,
don't even want to say. But
very
because of that
yeah.
anger that's built up, you tend to say so many things like you end up saying, oh, shouldn't have said this.
right. This is all we've got
And
time.
again, that.
Um,
Oh, right, we're finished, are
that's
we?
all we've
Right.
got time for. Yeah,
That was fast, man.
I
I
know.
thought we just started.
Yeah. Where did the time go? Well,
So you've been watching the Alien Spaceship with myself, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me bruv.
and me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Cuz.
And me, Femi Madariola, and he called me Sat Femo.
So it's goodbye from me.
And it's
Bye.
goodbye from me.
Bye.